Hi guys, welcome back to Cheetah World. Today, I'm with my dad here, and we're going to be doing something a little different today. You've seen me play video games and sing the President's songs. President's Day is coming up. I'm excited for that. But today, we're going to be doing something a little different. So today, I thought it would be cool to do a versus series. So we're going to be comparing two different things and each decide which one we like better. So on this series, we're going to be doing Justice League versus Avengers or Mario versus Sonic, all kinds of things, possibilities are endless. So welcome to episode 1 of this. Today, we're going to be comparing two of my favorite things in this world. Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings. So we're going to be discussing how Star Wars beats Lord of the Rings or Lord of the Rings beats Star Wars. And we're each going to decide who we vote for. But you guys are going to be also voting, and which side gets the most votes wins. So let's get started. So here you go, and I'll hang on to this. So, how are some ways what beats what, sir? Want to go first in your opinion?
I'm pretty sure I'm going to say that Lord of the Rings is a better story overall than Star Wars, even though Star Wars never really was only involved in books as a result of the movies.
Yeah, but here are some ways that Star Wars wins over Lord of the Rings. First of all, there's movies. Star Wars has had 9 movies. Technically 11. If you count Rogue One and Solo: A Star Wars Story. Mm-hmm. Lord of the Rings has only had 3 movies.
Well, maybe 6. Counting the Hobbit movies, plus the
right.
Hobbit movie. But if you're going to get really inclusive like that, Star Wars has had a couple more movies, like there was about 2 Ewoks movies, I think. And then there was, droid movies, I think. And then the Clone Wars, and then you could even count Mandalorian,
Yeah. And there's
but you're right. Star Wars will always have, I think, more film-based content than Lord of the Rings has.
Yeah. Even though George Lucas has only been a director of 3.
I think he might have been a director of more than that. So let's say Star Wars, New Hope,
Empire Strikes Back.
Well, he wasn't the director, but he was the producer. Return of the Jedi, The Phantom Menace, and then maybe even both prequels. So he's been a director of all of them. But Peter Jackson was the director of all 6 Lord of the Rings theatrical releases.
And there's also been awesome Star Wars TV shows. There have been Hobbit TV shows, I think, and Lord of the Rings TV shows. But I think there's been more Star Wars TV shows. There's been the Clone Wars TV series, the Resistance TV series, a few Lego things.
I think there's not been a Lord of the Rings TV series yet. It's coming out in Amazon Prime September 2nd of this year, 2022. And it's called Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power.
That should be good. My dad says it's probably not going to be for kids. But I guess they're going to
That's the rumor, yeah.
But he says that there's also going to be a new Star Wars movie where all these pilots are...
Which Star Wars movie was that?
You were saying something about new Star Wars movies that are all have these pilot things.
X-Wing, yeah. X-Wing, so I think Star Wars Rogue Squadron is a movie that's been approved and is in the course of production.
So now that we've discussed movies and TV shows, let's move on to the next thing. Let's discuss characters. So if Star Wars has had more things to watch, then basically there should be more characters in it than Lord of the Rings.
Maybe, probably.
Well, so yes. Even though we've had a few, and there's been all kinds of Jedi, and rebels. I think he's a rebel. Sith people. I think that person is Sith. Some vehicles also. We'll discuss vehicles later. So basically, So even though a few characters were dead, like a lot of the Jedi, like I drew a cool picture from Revenge of the Sith. There's Mace Windu, Agent Kohler, Kit Fisto, and CS-10 gonna fight Palpatine and his all their lightsabers, and Anakin's right there with his blue lightsaber. So all those Jedi die, except Anakin, who becomes Palpatine's evil master, Darth Vader. So, sir, what is your side about Lord of the Rings characters?
Do I think there's more?
Well, yeah. So for Lord of the Rings,
I don't think there's. I'm doubtful that there's more characters at the end of the day, even in extended novels like the Silmarillion.
So there's orcs and ringwraiths and elves, just to name a few.
Yeah.
So now let's discuss how about storyline.
Storyline, which has the better storyline?
So in Lord of the Rings, here we go. So Frodo Baggins has to travel to Moria to put this ring in Mordor to put this ring in some lava to destroy it, and he teams up with Sam, Samwise Gamgee, Gandalf the Grey, Aragorn, Gimli, Merry and Pippin, Legolas, Boromir, and Gimli. For Star Wars, it's just basically a big ship war between the Sith and the Rebels. Although before all that, there were the Clone Wars were between the Clone Army and the Separatists. Go watch Attack of the Clones. The Battle of Geonosis is super cool. Now, I was gonna say we're gonna move on to vehicles later, but I don't know. There aren't any vehicles in Lord of the Rings. They just walk in there. People just walk in their bare feet.
Well, they have boots, but there's a few vehicles. Maybe you haven't seen them yet in the story, but some of Sauron's allies from other lands, Far East lands. They travel on giant elephants called Oliphants. Ooh. And
but those aren't vehicles.
Well, I guess not.
Just saying.
They look like vehicles. And then the orcs carry battering rams sometimes on giant wheels. Gandalf travels in a cart pulled by a horse. So you're right. I mean, sounds like Star Wars definitely has more vehicles.
So they're also creatures. I've seen a lot of creepy creatures in Star Wars, but also cute ones. Have you guys ever watched Last Jedi? I haven't, but I've seen these little porgs. Things. I have never seen any cute creatures in Lord of the Rings, though.
I think maybe at Bilbo's birthday party there might have been a baby hobbit.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then what about the moth that helps Gandalf get off of Saruman's power?
Yeah.
It's kind of cute.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So basically, shall we vote?
Vote for what?
Should we vote which side is better?
As far as cute creatures or overall?
Overall now.
Okay.
So I think my vote's honestly going to go with Star Wars, just because of the more creatures things, I mean, there's a lot of, in my opinion, there's a lot of Star Wars that is better off to be desired. I've never seen Lord of the Rings, but still, I think my vote's honestly going to go with Star Wars. What about you, sir?
Well, before I give my vote, you want to give a little bit more reasons why you think Star Wars is better than Lord of the Rings?
So they're the cute creatures, and I think R2-D2 is really cute when he
Okay,
and
so
I love C-3PO.
Cuteness.
And also BB-8 and Dio. And all kinds of other stuff. And I think it's really cool and I think this scene from what I've drawn, like I showed you guys before, the scene in the movie is really cool, but since I told you about it and you don't want spoilers, why not? Maybe I should have said like to not keep watching this if you don't want anything spoiled if you haven't watched it.
We can put something in the description. By the time you see this video, there'll probably be a spoiler warning in the description. So what about storyline? Why do you think it's a better storyline?
Well, it's just that like all the characters do awesome things, you know, and I'm not making good reasons, am I?
What about action?
Oh yeah, action, definitely. Like I like it when all the Jedi are in Geonosis are fighting like all the like battle droids and super battle droids. And then there's also like Padme, even though she isn't a Jedi. And also they have to fight like the dinosaur Reek, the like furry Nexu, and the like Acklay, who is like a combination of the Velociraptor and Praying Mantis. So that scene in the movie is really cool. And the scene I drew. I would watch all the Star Wars movies though, but I'm not gonna let that keep going. Yeah. So sir, so out of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, what do you vote for?
I vote for Lord of the Rings. I think the storyline is much stronger than Star Wars, especially after the first 3 movies. I think the extended universe novels of Star Wars were overall good quality, while not being as classic and timeless as the Lord of the Rings stories. But, you know, those great novels, Disney decided to uncanonize them when they bought Star Wars. And so those aren't even considered the real books anymore. And Disney pushed out a bunch of new, you know, more modern stories that really were pretty disappointing. So I only read, I think, one of them. You know, I'll tell you a little bit of interesting backstory. I was very critical of the book on my Amazon review, and the author, he had very thin skin, and he was reading the Amazon reviews of his you know, customers who purchased the book, and then he was posting the reviews on Twitter and basically mocking people who wrote critical reviews. He was later fired by Disney due to his bombastic Twitter posts. So definitely, you know, in the old days, the authors were, you know, quiet individuals who wrote good stories and went to conventions. And this was a very angry person who didn't appreciate the fans. And maybe there's a lot of that going on at the Disney boardrooms as well. I think a lot of people feel that way, that the movie series, starting with the prequels, really took a downhill turn in the quality of the storytelling, you know, the believability of the storytelling. And whereas Lord of the Rings is much more grounded in reality. Characters are skilled, but not super powerful. Even Gandalf's skilled, but the idea that he's all powerful is certainly is certainly not shown. And you know, the story, I think, is more, you know, again, this relates to groundedness. The story is more human in that characters do things that are more, for good or bad, are more commonly part of our human condition in the choices they make or the difficulties they face. I don't know that I feel like Star Wars really sells a very grounded human story. It's, especially in the later movies, it's more just about superhumans and trying to set up exciting action scenes versus real you know, character-driven storytelling. Now, that's not, I think, true as much for The Mandalorian. I think in The Mandalorian you went back to that much more grounded storytelling. So I think I think Lord of the Rings, both stories try to harken back to the universal story, which is basically a young boy and and his friends challenge the forces of darkness, whether it's slaying a dragon or overcoming a samurai warlord. This is a classic, timeless tale, but Lord of the Rings is much more grounded in that ancient tale. I mean, Tolkien took his story from an ancient, what's the Nordic culture tale, and going back probably much farther than George Lucas went when he borrowed from famous samurai movies of the 20th century. So both exciting and good stories overall. But I think Lord of the Rings is the stronger story.
All right. Well, viewers, that's our vote, but you guys choose the winner. So we're gonna put viewing option below, and you guys can just click what you want to vote for: Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, and we'll discuss the winner in the next episode. And this is my cute little brother, Gabriel. What do you vote for, Gabriel? Star Wars or Lord of the Rings?
I don't know. I think Lord of the Rings because it's more educational.
More educational.
Yeah, I just really like the actions of it.
So, like I said, we'll be discussing the winner in the next episode when the polls have been decided, and I'm not sure what we're going to be doing next episode. Maybe it's a possibility we could do the two Charizard mega evolutions. Maybe we'll think about it. So we'll see you later. Thanks for watching our first versus video, and we'll see you next time. Cheetah Coalition. Goodbye. Wow.
I think you should choose Lord of the Rings for your vote.
Lord of the Rings.